There's proof in the Bible that Islam was meant to come after Christianity.
Oh, really?
Chapter 42, verse 6 said, I will keep you and make you to be a covenant for the people and a light to the Gentiles. And this couldn't have been Jesus because Jesus himself said in Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, meaning the Jew.
Oh, you were actually being serious. Okay, here we go. Isaiah 42 is speaking specifically about Jesus. Here we see God the Father calling Yeshua his servant.
Oh my gosh, there's no way you're serious right now. I thought you were a self-proclaimed intellectual Christian. Where is Yeshua? That's funny. He's actually not even named at all in this entire chapter. In fact, the servant of Isaiah 42 is the only time the servant isn't named. Almost every other time he mentions the servant, he always names him right after. So why is it that instead we see a word here, whom I uphold, which is only used once here in the Bible? Well, that's because when we actually look at the Dead Sea Scrolls in the Hebrew, we see that the punctuation marks are missing. And for that word here in Isaiah 42, we actually see it's the Hebrew word exactly matching for Ahmad, not Yeshua. So actually this verse names the Prophet Muhammad. You just cooked yourself in the first passage. And if you say, well, the swiggle at the end looks slightly different, I'll have to remind you that the Bible has poor copyist preservation, as scholars can't decide if the Hebrews in 2nd Chronicles about Ahaziah's age actually looks like 42, for an example, is actually 22. Same with Jehoiachin's age. Scribes even change the names of people in Torah as shown here in the commentaries. It's clearly a scribal change of the name. So 1, it's absurd to think that the servant here isn't named when he's always named. 2, the Hebrew looks spot on for Ahmad. 3, scribes are known for changing names of the Torah. So yeah, this is about Ahmad, not Yeshua, who's not even mentioned in this verse.
God says, I have put my spirit upon him. Muhammad never had the Spirit of God. Muhammad never had the Holy Spirit.
Well, the Hebrew here is ruach, which means angels, not the Holy Spirit. I'll grant that though. The Quran says he was supported by the Holy Spirit. So you've just shown us you haven't read the Quran. I appreciate that.
In fact, when you go to the Quran, you'll see that even in the Quran, it calls Jesus a spirit from Allah.
Yeah, that means his spirit was made from God, from his decree. That doesn't mean his spirit is also the Holy Spirit. Are you some kind of modalist? Anyways, no one has even understood this as his spirit being the Holy Spirit. So you're just gibberating. Everything you're saying right now is unintelligible. Anyone with a slight knowledge on this verse knows that Jesus is not being called made out of the Holy Spirit. Terrible arguments from you.
Coming with a message. This person specifically had to be sent by God and had to have the Spirit of God.
Wow, almost like the Quran verbatim says that. Are you illiterate? Anyways, I just granted it's the Spirit of God, but just to remind you, it means supported by angels, not the Holy Spirit. Can you even read your own Bible in context?
By this servant. It says that he will open blind eyes.
You just quoted the most ambiguous passage. The commentary means that he will just spiritually guide the blind and free them. Dude, you could literally attribute that to Joseph Smith. There's no way you're serious right now.
When you go to the New Testament, all across the Gospels, you'll see examples of Jesus performing healing miracles. There's many examples of Jesus healing the blind.
Cool, that's literally not what the verse is referring to. I'll grant that literal verse though. Muhammad does the same thing. Now what? Quoting literally the most ambiguous passages and trying to associate it with Jesus is honestly so pathetic. Why don't you talk about how the servant goes to Kedar and Sela, which is the Hijaz region, Mecca and Medina, the Ishmaelite Arabs live in? Or how about the fact in verse 19, the servant is a ki mushallam, which means a Muslim according to lexicons? You're cooked.